Okay, so let's jump right in. We hear about AI all the time, right? But here's the thing we've really got to understand. This isn't just another app on your phone. It's a genuine force that's triggering a fundamental shift in how we all work, kind of like the steam engine or the internet was. So today we're going to break down exactly what that means for our jobs, our skills, and yeah, our future.
So let's start with a number that might surprise you. According to a huge study from the McKinsey Global Institute, the demand for basic cognitive skills in Europe is set to drop by a whopping 14% by 2030. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a direct result of a couple of big forces already in motion. Our productivity growth is slowing down, and we're seeing these big demographic shifts.
So that leads to the big question, right? The one we're really tackling in this explainer. If the old ways of doing things, the old skills are becoming less valuable, where on earth is our future growth and productivity going to come from? Well, the answer, it turns out, lies in a totally new partnership between us, humans, and machines.
All right, so here's our roadmap for figuring this out. First, we'll look at the productivity predicament, basically the economic pressure cooker we're in. Then, we'll dive into AI's massive automation wave. After that, we'll get into the great skills reshuffle. What's in, what's out. We'll pinpoint the human skills that are suddenly in super high demand. And finally, we'll talk about this really cool idea of forging our super agency. Let's go.
Okay, first up, the productivity predicament. You can think of this as a perfect storm of slowing growth and a real shortage of labor. Right now, major economies in Europe and the US are kind of caught in this. They've got tight labor markets, their populations are getting older, and productivity growth, well, it's slowed to a crawl. All of this has created a really urgent need for a new way to get things moving again.
And this isn't just some abstract problem for economists to worry about. Companies are feeling this pain right now. They are fighting tooth and nail for talent because unemployment is so low. And this trend, it's not going away on its own. So this pressure is what's pushing everyone to look for tech solutions that can, help them do more with less. And this is exactly the moment AI steps onto the scene.
And that brings us to AI's automation wave. See, generative AI isn't just another tool. It's this powerful new catalyst dropping right into the economic landscape we just talked about. And the promise here is that it can automate not just the physical stuff, but the cognitive stuff, totally changing the whole productivity game.
So, just how big of a catalyst are we talking about here? Well, check out this number. A recent report from Deloitte, which was actually commissioned by Google, estimates that generative AI alone could add, wait for it, a staggering 1.2 trillion euros to Europe's economy. I mean, that's not just a small boost. That's a potential economic transformation.
Okay, €1 trillion sounds huge, but what does that actually mean for you and me, for the average worker? Well, that same report breaks it down. It says AI could save you over 70 hours a year. That's almost 2 full work weeks. Just think about what you could do with all that extra time.
And this chart really paints a picture of just how big this shift is. McKinsey projects that by 2030, almost 30% of all the hours we currently work in Europe could be automated. Now, that doesn't mean 30% of jobs just disappear. That's the key thing to remember. It means a big chunk of the tasks inside our jobs are going to change.
Okay, so we've got this super powerful tech automating tasks on a massive scale. So what does that mean for us, the people doing the work? Well, this is kicking off what's being called the Great Skills Reshuffle, the biggest workforce transition we've seen in decades. It's a huge reshuffling of skills and roles.
And the speed of this change is just wild. To keep up with everything AI is driving, the pace at which people in Europe switch careers will need to pretty much double what it's been historically. This isn't some slow, gradual thing. This is the labor market getting fundamentally rewired, but at double speed.
But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a bit of a disconnect. Research from the book Super Agency shows that employees, well, they're actually way ahead of their bosses on this. You've got 56% of employees who expect to be using AI for a big chunk of their work in the next 5 years. But only 37% of the C-suite execs expect the same. See that gap? The workforce is ready to run with AI, but it seems like leadership is still lacing up its sneakers.
So this is the really critical part. We need to understand which skills are getting reshuffled. And this data from McKinsey makes it crystal clear. You see that time spent on basic cognitive tasks? It drops 14%. But look at the other side of the chart. Social and emotional skills, up 14%. And technological skills, a massive 29% jump. That is the great reshuffle, right there in the numbers. So if our old skills are becoming less valuable, how should we even think about this new relationship with AI?
I heard a great moment on a recent OMR podcast where they asked a guest exactly this, how they use ChatGPT. The question was super simple. What would be your analogy for that?
And the answer? A very smart intern. I just love that because it nails the dynamic perfectly, right? An intern is super capable, can handle really complex tasks, and can make you way more productive. But, and this is the important part, they still need your guidance, your direction, and your critical eye. They're an assistant, a powerful one, but not a replacement. And that smart intern idea brings us to the most important part of this whole story, the opportunity. Our real value isn't in trying to compete with the intern on its terms. It's in providing all the skills it doesn't have, the stuff that machines, at least for now, just can't do.
Future of work expert Yasmin Weiss has a great name for these, humane super skills. It's a perfect term. She defines them as this set of human-centric abilities that create value through things like ethics, emotion, and intuition. This is where we humans still have a massive advantage.
So what exactly are these super skills? Well, things like ethical and moral judgment. AI just doesn't have that. Intuition, that gut feeling for what's not being said in a meeting. The ability to build real trust person to person. Genuine emotional connection. Sure, AI can mimic empathy, but it can't feel it, and we can spot the difference. And even stuff like craftsmanship and fine motor skills. That's surprisingly tough for robots to get right. These are our unique human strengths.
So, the guiding principle here, the new mindset for the future of work, isn't human versus machine. It's human with machine. It's all about a partnership, a synergy, where sometimes we lead and sometimes the machine leads, depending on what needs to get done.
And this new partnership? It creates something called super agency. I love this concept. It's the idea that we can use AI as a tool to amplify our own abilities, our creativity, our productivity, making us better and more effective than we've ever been before.
And look, this isn't just some feel-good theory. It's actually a core design principle for the people building this stuff. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, said it so clearly. We made a conscious design choice to put human agency at the center of the product. The whole point is to empower us.
So if you take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. The single most important idea to hold on to is that the goal of this technology is not to replace humans, it's to amplify them. So I'll leave you with this final thought, this question. The tech is here. This transition is already happening. The choice we have now is, are we just going to react and create a future of work? Or are we going to be proactive, lean into this, really focus on our uniquely human skills, and build a future of super agency?